What's up guys, Illis the Great here. So this is how you're going to optimize your Xbox, whether it's Series X, Series S, Xbox One X, Xbox One. This video is going to be a little bit lengthy. I'm going to try to cut it down as much as possible when I'm editing this. But anyway, let's go ahead and jump into it and get it started. So the first setting that we're going to go over is network settings. This one's pretty straightforward. Pro tip number one, play hardwired. Don't go wireless. Bandwidth usage actually. We're gonna have it collect data for 31 days, so it doesn't sit there and refresh every single day trying to collect data. So advanced settings. On this one, you got your IP address, your DNS. On your DNS, you can choose automatic, but I use manual. This is the DNS that my ISP uses. So when I'm pulling server addresses or the game server is saying, hey, where is this IP that's trying to connect to the server coming from? It will get the most physically accurate DNS location it possibly can. Alternate MAC address, that's really something you shouldn't be messing with. You don't really have to hit clear unless you've actually went in there and changed that. Alternate port selection, this one was interesting. So most of the time it defaults to 3074, but if you hit select port, you're gonna see all these pop up. Naturally, the router is going to, the console is going to want 3074, and then it's going to go to the very next one until it's available. When you pick one of these higher numbers up here, the 52s, 53s, 56, these ports aren't being used as much. There's not a lot of traffic going through them, which means there's going to be a cleaner connection between your console and the server. QoS tagging settings, that's wireless tagging. You don't need to even worry about that. You need to go hardwired, but if you are using a router that even supports WMM, you can tag it if you want to. The DSCP tagging, this one is interesting because while your router might recognize these tags, your local ISP might actually ignore those tags. And it does modify the header of the packet a little bit as well. In terms of conserving console resources, we're not going to have any of that enabled. You need to have your resolution set to whatever your monitor is. For me, it's 1440p. Don't set it to 4K just because it looks better. Essentially, you want your connection to be one-to-one to whatever the TV or monitor is expecting. You don't want it to do any upscaling or downscaling at all. Device control, it said disable this because this is constantly checking in the background about, yeah, can it turn on other devices? Can it turn off the console, turn it on, send commands? It's actually using resources in the background. Night mode, it's kind of a personal preference if you want that on or off. But the theme I have mine set to is dark theme. Controller brightness, normally I actually turn that off. That's interesting. There we go. There. I guess I didn't save that. Power button. I guess I forgot a setting. Look at me go. The dark theme is also as good as well. It's less processing. They're not trying to, there's no dynamic backgrounds going on. Video modes. Don't check this one. Don't check that one. Auto low latency mode. If you're on a TV that supports it, you might need to turn that on unless you can actually go into your TV and enable like a game picture option, and then that will automatically turn on for your TV so that the console doesn't have to communicate it. Right now, I don't have the option to turn off or on VRR, but turn it off. You do not need it. The only game you might need it for is like Fallout when you're in like the inner city and the frame rate's constantly jumping around. What you want is the console to put out the raw frames and for the monitor to receive them. Like I said, you don't want any type of manipulation. You don't want a buffer so that it can predict where the frame rate is going or adjust on the fly. You don't want your frames in any sort of buffer at all. These allow 4K off, HDR10 off. I can't select them, they're green. You're probably gonna wonder why my UI looks like the Matrix or some green. We'll get to that later. All this stuff off. No Dolby Vision, no Auto HDR, no HDR10. You don't need any extra processing on top of the signal. You're gonna rely strictly on whatever the resolution and the refresh rate of the monitor is. For me, I couldn't manually configure HDMI 1440p 120 hertz for some strange reason. I had to go with auto detect because it wouldn't allow me. This right here, PC RGB or standard, you need to know if your monitor is expecting PC RGB, which mine is, or if it's got the limited color space. You need to look at your monitor and Google it to see what type of color space it has. Now for color depth, as you see, I'm actually using 30 bits, not 24, and that's because my monitor supports 10-bit color. It can support the color bandwidth, so to speak, with no extra input delay, no added processing. It receives it 1-to-1 ratio, nothing extra about it. Apps can add a border, off. Volume, stereo uncompressed, headset stereo uncompressed, additional, allow pass through. That's if you're using like a sound system, don't do that. Mono output, no, you want surround. I have mute speakers when headset is attached so that it's not trying to send audio to two places. Mute navigation sounds, notification sounds, that's processing right there. Chat mixer, that's kind of, I have do nothing, party chat output, headset, power chime off, mute startup sounds. Personalization, here we go. Customize the guide. I have it reset to default, games and apps. Small, hide system apps, minimal 4 tiles. I have none of that checked. Hide play history tile. Let's go to profile. Show themes, that is unchecked. Change the color. Technically black is or dark gray. Online safety and family. Privacy and online safety, here we go. Not providing, yep, we're not allowing, yeah, no thanks. No extra data going in the background, not allowed. Personalized ads, no thanks. Xbox privacy, here we go. Custom, view details and customize. Online status, you can see your online. You can say only me if you want to. If you play solo like me, only me, or just friends. You can see what you're watching or listening to, only me, only me. You don't really want your console sending that many updates to the guide, so to speak. Profile, can see your Xbox profile. Pretty much everyone, I don't really care. See others, everyone. Name, see your real name, only me. Share your name with friends, block. Friends, followers, and clubs. Who can add you and follow everyone. Send your friend requests, allow, follow, allow, whatever. Can see your friends and following lists, only me. Can create and join clubs, block, I don't care about that. See your club memberships, only me. Communication and multiplayer, allow, voice and text. Yeah, I mean, people can send me messages, I don't really care. Communicate outside of a voice, yeah, that's the Xbox app. Can use video for communications, block, and then only me, activity feed. All right, game content, here we go. Upload captures. So this is an interesting one. If you're recording clips on your Xbox to your SSD, there's a dedicated chip in this series that is actually recording the gameplay, but when it writes it to your SSD as you're trying to play the game, that kind of bottlenecks it just a little bit, which is why you will lag, especially if you're recording simultaneously as you're playing. The only way to get that to go away is to buy yourself an extended storage thing. I have a 64 gig USB 3.0 that I plug into the back, and that dedicated chip that I was talking about records the gameplay and sends it to the USB. And so the SSD with the game never gets bothered. There's no lag, no input added, no extra processing. Again, it's a dedicated chip for recording and stuff. If you play by yourself and you don't record or stream, then obviously you want block and block. But as you see, block, see your captures, only me, block, block, block. But if you stream through your console, you can set that to allow. We'll get into, actually I'll cover it now. If you're streaming on Xbox, what you need to be, the settings that you need to be using, I'll go over it real quick. Obviously microphone, I wouldn't recommend a camera, but it said go with 723 3000 kilobits. Overlay is the bottom right. Ironically, if you try to make it see-through like this, there's actual dual processing going on where it's trying to render the gameplay underneath those pixels. So if you set it to fully transparent, that is static. It's a lot easier for it to process, and also bottom right means it's one of the last things rendered on screen. Little FYI there. Sharing outside of Xbox, you can share outside of Xbox. I have that set to block. If you use OneDrive, you're going to need to set that to allow. But if you use the Xbox network, you can do block. Buy and download on ask before buying. Just make sure you don't accidentally click something. Contact preferences. No, I don't want to be any extra things coming to me that I don't need to see. Power options. Do fully shut down. It'll just save your console long term. I would say about once a week you need to power cycle your console. All you need to do is make sure it's off, unplug your power, count off about, let's just say 10 seconds, just to make sure all the power's out, and then unplug it back in, because you want to clear your RAM. Customize power options. This is kind of personal preference. Sometimes I walk away for 20 to 25 minutes. That's the minimal. I never listen to music or video. Keep my console up to date off. You don't want it pinging in the background to the server to see if there's an update. Games and apps. Again, you don't want it searching in the background while you're trying to shoot bullets. You don't want a packet from the console going to the cloud to see if there's any updates available. I think I showed that one earlier. All those are off. When console's off, turn off storage. Yes, remote features. Disabled. Adjust active hours. It won't even let me do that, which means it's probably not even allowed. All right, system, console. Allow optional data collection. Off. Storage devices. This one you can, periodically go through, clear out your local 360 storage. It just basically all your stuff gets backed up to the cloud, like all your saves and your settings to your Call of Duties and stuff. All that's in the cloud. There's no real reason to keep it on the console. You can clear this every now and then if you want to, just to make sure it's not holding on to useless information. Okay, updates. Again, those are off. The location and language, just where you're at. None of this is, gonna cause any type of performance issues. Time, 24-hour daylight savings. Again, no performance loss there. Access restrictions. Not unless you're trying to set this for your child. Do you even need to worry about that? Backup and transfer. Network, say off, because apparently in the background it's pinging to see if there's any transferable networks found. Backup my settings. I have keep backup current unchecked so that it's not trying to send stuff. Device and connection, controllers and headsets. So this is interesting. The controller's chip send an audio to your headset. There's a bit of a processing there and a little bit of a syncing effect. So what I've been doing lately is actually running my headset audio through a second controller. Media remote. I don't even have a media remote. I'm gonna say no action. Remote features, disable. Play to streaming, disable. Power options, we already went over that. TV, AVA, yep, all that disabled. You don't need anything in the background checking with the server on whether or not you have enough bandwidth to send it. You don't need it to even be on standby. Disable. Digital assistance, disable. Blu-ray, dynamic range control off. Off, whatever that is. Let my receiver decode my audio off. English for everything. And you can clear your persistent storage, which there really isn't anything to even clear. Mouse doesn't even, I don't even know about that one. I don't use mouse. But anyway, next one. Notifications. This is interesting. Notification banners off. See, it says on and it is unchecked, so it's off. My game is not going to have to waste any type of GPU resources drawing a notification on my screen. No extra GPU processing. Xbox notifications. Allow notifications. All of it's unclicked. Allow notifications. Unclicked. It's just off. App notifications. Nothing there. Default notification positioning. Like I said, bottom right. Notification timing. Only items I can open, which is the bare minimum essentially at all that. And then default pop-up timing. I said default because there's no other. It seems to be that default is probably the least amount of time it'd be on your screen. But you're not even allowing notifications at this point, so you don't really have to worry about that anyway. Idle options. I already went through this, I think. 25 minutes, yep, show me things when idle. You don't unclick. Some of these did change. Dim screen after, I'm gonna say 10 minutes, because 2 minutes, you might get up and go to the bathroom. You don't really need your screen to dim. So we're gonna say 10 minutes. Capture and share. I'm allowing captures by me. No auto uploads in the background. The minimal amount of recording time. But again, if you're not doing any type of captures at all, just hit don't capture. Activity feed, not on. Accessibility, narrator, off. Magnifier, off. All that unchecked. Captioning, off. High contrast. I have it set to dark theme. All right, controller. You could probably turn your vibration off. Yeah, see, it's off. Gaming chat. Yeah, you don't want any of this text-to-speech stuff popping on. Audio. Mute navigation sounds. Some of these are kind of overlap a little bit, as I can see. No color correction. But anyway, guys, I think that's every single setting I can think of. Man, I don't know if there's anything else, but I think that's it. So I'm going to go ahead and end the video right here. If I think of anything else, I'll put it in the comments below. Anyway, guys, that's going to do it for me. God bless you. Jesus loves you. Otis the Great. Out.